All right, welcome everyone to the May 12th V3 implementation call. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us this morning. Just as a reminder, these V3 implementation calls are recorded and they're put on the website and our YouTube channel for you to refer to later, or if you miss one, or if there's a section of one that you want to go back through and review, those are made available to everyone on our website and the YouTube channel. We're going to go ahead and get started today. Let me move down the agenda. There we go. We'll start off with Laurel and with any maintenance updates you might have for us.
Good morning, everyone. So our maintenance update this month is that there will be no maintenance next month or next week on Tuesday and Wednesday, the 18th and 19th of May. No maintenance, everything should be working as usual. If you notice any problems, please let us know. And we'll probably have something in June. Thanks.
Thank you, Laurel. Any questions for Laurel? Great. Let's go ahead and do an ET3 update with our guests, Neil and John. Do one of you want to take over for a minute?
John, if you wouldn't mind going ahead and get started, I can say a little bit at the end. Actually, I don't see John at the moment. He might be on another call and getting off of that. I'll just briefly tell the group, I know we've got a lot of questions about doing some checks on data submissions and making sure everything is reconciled. I will say we're a little behind. I think we expect to really force myself. So I could say that when it comes to checking on submissions, we've already done a little bit of auditing with some of the vendors we've gotten on the calls with in the last week, but we should be able to get a good sense of all the submissions that we've received through the end of April deadline, which would cover all the PCRs that are dated through the end of March. I expect to have that within the next day or two, and can certainly provide that for anybody who reaches out. And we can also, work with the NEMSIS TAC to make sure that's available for them if any vendors want to reach out. But certainly, the quickest info will be reaching out to us at ET3. To give you some perspective on what we've been facing, we have had, I think, nearly 2 million records sent to us in the last 3 weeks. And I think our system is working well, but there was some serious catching up that it needed to do in the past week to process all of that. And along the way, when you're standing up something that's new, you learn there's a few parts that aren't very efficient with the processing, and that's where we are right now. Other than that, I think John had some actual slides prepped with numbers. Off the top of my head, just to share with the group, of the 184 participating agencies as of Monday morning, 161 API keys were active among those participants. And we had, I'm still catching up on the numbers, but we had about over 120 participating agencies actively submitting data to ET3. It's probably a decent bit higher than that because we're still processing through the data, but those are some of the numbers we're looking at. And in total, we have received in excess of 3.5 million records, which includes both the current year, January through March, and then the historical data period that ET3 has requested, which was March 2019 to February 2020. So those are the numbers we're looking at. And certainly please reach out to me or to John if there's any particular questions that if we can't answer it here, we'll get back to you about them. But perhaps maybe later, if John's able to join, he can share some material from the slides. I think that's kind of where we're at right now. Maybe the last thing I'll add for just to close this out is that we are trying to work with and reach out to participants from the ET3 side just to make sure that we're coordinated with you and the vendor community, to make sure they're up and running with data submissions. So that's where we're at. And I'll pause if there's any time left to take some questions.
Hi, Neil. This is Kelly with the Image Trend. I had a client that was wanting to know if it would be possible to manually import to you guys. Is that true? And if so, what would that process look like?
You know, we had actually, I believe fairly early on in testing, had removed the possibility of manual importing because of the workload involved to stand that up as opposed to API based. If there's another type of importing, we might have to just reach out to you and see what the client is kind of looking to do and maybe a way around that. But really, we haven't built anything that wasn't API based.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Neil? And if John's able to join us, we're happy to add anything he'd like to add to the conversation at the end too.
Hi, this is Mark Roberts.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, good morning. So what is the recourse for those that haven't started and haven't gotten even anything submitted yet? I mean, I'm running reports in California and I'm not seeing one piece of information come through that is hitting any of the data points.
Sorry, so I see, sir, you're a data manager for the state of California. Is that correct, sir?
Correct.
And then your particular question is, it pertains to the ET3 participants who are in California and you're not seeing that they've submitted anything. Am I understanding it correctly?
Right. I'm seeing, well, I know at a local level, a couple agencies haven't even began the process yet. So I'm just trying to figure out if at what point are they removed or what is the next step?
Oh, the recourse, right. So the first thing, and I'll have to check on my record, it might take me a bit, but we've already been working with a couple agencies out of California who, in working with the vendors, they're in line, they have active API keys, and I believe there's some of the ones I can see that have submitted data. So I'm not sure if there's a kind of a discrepancy in reporting, but we are receiving data from some California-based participants. The second part is, as I've mentioned, we are delayed in processing, and because of that delay, we're being very just flexible with participants because we're not able to give participants, very, very rapid feedback as to, hey, we've received your data, you've met the requirements. It's taking us, at this point, we're looking at about 2 weeks past the deadline to inform them if we're still missing data and just making sure there wasn't some sort of technical function. We've sort of implied this, but I'll state it more clearly. For ET3, because we've been standing up a whole new system and a whole new data standard that's novel to CMS and CMMI, at least at this level, where we're actually taking it in, we're fairly flexible and approaching it from a good faith standpoint. And we know there's technical issues involved. And sometimes some of it's also just process and making sure everybody's coordinated. So what we've been doing is we've been very light with some of the compliance issues. If you're willing to work with us and just keep us informed about any issues that are going on or just checking with us to see if the data submissions are going through, we consider that good faith, and there's no negative repercussions. We're just looking to try to get you on board as quickly as possible. I mean, our goal is probably by the end of this week to report out to participants where they stand with data submissions, and from there, at least get everybody onboarded and access to the system before the end of this month. The vast majority have really done well, but we've realized that there's a lot of technical issues that we just didn't foresee. And so we've been fairly generous and still, being aware that some have been dead on and met the deadlines right away, and others have needed some help. But we've been fairly open with that since it's a pretty novel thing for us on the CMMI end. So in short, there's no real punitive repercussions as long as participants are just openly communicating with us about any issues that they have and just responsive to when we reach out and try to assist and get them up to speed as quickly as possible.
I appreciate that. Early on, I created some reports based on some of the new data elements that were being collected, and I've not seen any data come back against those reports. So that's what's making me ask the question, because either the reports are wrong, or nobody is reporting yet in California. And if you're telling me that there is some data coming in from California, then I need to go back to my vendor and find out what's with the reports to see why at a state level we're not able to see some of those fields.
Yeah, and if you could, sir, please shoot me an email. I'll put my email in the chat and probably include John Beckett, because if it's technical, he can get to it faster than I can. And what we'll do is just probably reply back to you and let you know which California-based participants are submitting data to us, and we can provide that before the end of the week.
Oh yeah, that would be absolutely great, because then I can work with the vendor to find out if they're submitting data, then why are we not seeing it on this end?
Right.
Thank you so much.
Will do.
Yeah, Neil, this is Clay, and maybe I can help Mark a little. As you mentioned, with the numbers you provided, there's like 27 agencies yet to bring on board. I just see one here that still remains to come on board from California. So, yeah, there's good participation so far from California. So I just wanted to let Mark know there's at least one more agency that Neil and John are working with. So.
Thank you, Clay. I'm working with two personally, and neither one of them have even begun to collect the data. So that's why they may have the keys, they may have some of that stuff done, but they're not collecting any of the data in the field. So that's why I asked.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
Are there any other questions for Neil? All right. Next on the agenda, we're going to turn some time over to Clay for performance measures dashboard.
Yeah, thanks, Julianne. And if it's okay, I'm going to reverse the order of my presentation and Kevin's, just because Kevin's going to go over the public performance dashboard, which I think will then lead into mine pretty nicely. And I talked to Kevin about that. He's okay. You okay, Kevin, going first?
Indeed, I am. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Give me a moment here to share my screen, and we'll get started. Good morning, everyone. So what we're here to talk about today is one of our dashboards, specifically the public performance measures dashboard. To get to this dashboard, what we do is go to View Reports, Public Reports, Version 3 Dashboards, and conveniently enough, this dashboard is right here at the top for us. Note that we have a user guide and a short video available as well. This is a public dashboard, so it does not require any authentication. The public performance measures dashboard, what it does is it visualizes EMS performance measures that are maintained by the National EMS Quality Alliance, including measures that were originally developed by the EMS Compass Initiative. The dashboard does not implement all of the NEMSIS performance measures. We only implement the performance measures that can be measured using data available in the National EMS database or data standard. So there are lots of measures that are beyond that are incorporated into NEMSIS, but we can only measure what we can actually get submitted to us. So the NEMSIS dashboard primarily gives the public a way to track performance of EMS over time, but also enables an individual EMS agency to benchmark its performance against similar agencies across the nation. For example, let's look at whether or not we are providing pain assessment, which is the currently selected measure for injured patients. So here at the top, we see that we're for this measure, we are looking at almost 7 million activations across almost 10,000 agencies across the country and 50 states or territories. So here we have the measure at a top line at a national level, 69%. And then we have some trending by year here that shows how that measure has trended over time across the past few years. Now, we not only show you these trends over time, but we also allow you to dig down and look at different attributes of an agency. Let's say, for example, you're an EMS agency and that you are in the Midwestern census region. You are a rural agency, and that you are a volunteer fire department agency, to be specific. So I've clicked on all three of those different categories, and now we can come back up to the top. We can see what this measure looks like for an agency of that type using national data. Right? We see 2019, substantial variation, 2020, maybe a bit less, 2021 seems to be trending nicely upward, particularly in the last few months. So that's just one example of how an individual agency or anyone in the public can use this dashboard to drill into specific performance of one of the benchmarks. Now, if we wanted from here, now that we've drilled down into this, we have a couple of options. One, we can always download these results if we want to pass them on to someone within an agency or distribute them to like agencies within a state. Or if we wanted to perform the same analysis but using one of the different measures, we can click this little revert button, which resets the dashboard back to its default state, come back up, and then select one of the other 10 available measures. Now, in addition to this dashboard itself, we also offer a public web service API that enables software vendors to offer these benchmarks within their own software. And we can find information on that API on the website. Don't worry, we'll provide links to this in the chat with full documentation on that web service API so that you can use that to offer this information directly in your EMS software. Are there any questions about this public dashboard?
Yeah, Kevin, this is Clay. Ann from Arizona asked a great question in the chat. I may have missed it, but can this dashboard restrict to agencies with transport capabilities? That's a really good question. I wonder if that's a measure that could be added. We'd have to think about that and how we would identify agencies with transport capabilities. It's a really good idea.
Indeed, something to think about. Any other questions or about this dashboard, or perhaps even the web service API? All right, I'm now going to turn over the presentation to Clay to discuss an upcoming addition to our performance measures dashboard offering.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Kevin. And this speaks a little bit to Ann's question. So thanks, Ann. We're kind of doubling down under the request of NHTSA to track with NEMSIS, which has taken over the responsibility for kind of ensuring these performance measures are kept up to date and developing new performance measures above and beyond those developed through EMS Compass. So we're tracking closely with that. The API allows you as a software vendor to actually implement the correct implementations of each of the 10 performance measures so far into your software. And then, as Kevin indicated, there's that public dashboard that also allows an agency to go in, check the characteristics that are associated with their agency and look and see how they compare to the nation when they can view those same performance measures in their software if you're utilizing that API that we developed for you, for the vendors. One more tool, Anne, that we're just now completing and getting ready to release is this state level performance measure dashboard. So it looks exactly like the public dashboard, right? Except that it allows a state to choose the agencies within their state and just automatically drill down to each of those agencies, right? So there's 12,000 agencies listed here because I'm looking at this dashboard from a national perspective. When Anne opens it, she'll just see the agency numbers associated with Arizona, for example. And then if I choose one of those, it will, the dashboard automatically knows knows these characteristics for each of the agencies. And so it will automatically flip this to that agency's performance. So I'm not sure which state has labeled an agency as number one, but I'll choose that. If I choose that, then you see another line that Kevin was talking about now shows up that shows the agency performance on this same measure. I kept the same measure that Kevin was showing. So it was a pain assessment done for an injured patient. And you can see that the value for this agency is now 64% compared to 69% for the nation. Then you can see the measure and the dashboard automatically knew that this is an agency in the Northeast. It's suburban, it's mixed, it's got volunteer and non-volunteer, it's a private, non-hospital, how many patient contacts they have, and they offer BLS. So what this does, hopefully for the state data managers, is provides a way to kind of facilitate the use of these performance measures among your agencies, right? So if you, as Kevin indicated, you can download this, for example, for agency number one, whichever state that is associated with, the data manager or anyone within the state who has a NEMSIS password could run this report for that agency, download it into a PDF, send it to them and say, hey, you can use this to track your performance month over month, right? And then they could go into that public dashboard, choose Northeast, suburban, mixed, private, number of patient contacts in BLS, and then they could track that over time. They would see this trend line over the months, right? So we're really trying to provide the state data managers with another tool that can improve their ability to help agencies improve their performance, right? And show that the state is providing mechanisms for them to be able to track their performance. So this is the state level tool. We hope within this next year, probably about this time in 2022, to have a report like this that can actually be accessed by each individual agency. So we'll try to complete that loop, allowing for everyone to be able to see these NEMSIS-based performance measures from the agency to the state, and then a public version as well. So any questions about our vision of kind of moving forward this idea of allowing agencies to look at their performance based on a national benchmark? Okay. And you asked a good question. We'll take a look and see if there is a way in the NEMSIS data to reliably indicate whether or not an agency is primarily a transport capable agency, and we'll see if we could potentially add that as one of the choices. So thank you. That was a good idea.
Clay, this is Sharon in Nebraska. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Sharon, how are you?
Good. I was wondering if you are considering, because this has the national comparison performance measure, could it be added for like a statewide performance measure also for the people that have the ability to log in at the state level?
Great. So Sharon, that's a great idea. So you're saying could they kind of build this to look at like agencies within the state, for example, of Nebraska, right? And if they could choose their characteristics and look at a trend line for the state.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's another good idea. Thanks, Sharon. That's a good idea. We'll take a look at that. Any other comments?
I might have missed it. Was there a urbanicity measure here?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. Yeah, good question, David. Any other questions? All right, Julianne, I'll turn it back over to you, and I apologize, I have to jump off for another meeting.
All right, no problem. Next on the agenda, we're gonna hear from Ben Fisher. He's gonna talk a little bit about the research data set.
Yeah, good morning. You can hear me okay, Julianne?
Yep, you sound great.
So we are pretty excited. The 2020 research data set is finally available. Thank you all for your patience. It is the largest research data set we've ever produced. It's about 44 million records. And I think the sort of big thing here for this group is really to kind of thank you all for all the hard work you guys do. I know it seems like when you're troubleshooting, weird, problems with data ingestion or submissions to NEMSIS. I mean, we really appreciate it. It really pays off. I'm relatively new to NEMSIS, so I was pretty surprised at all of the various areas that this data is used for research. It's pretty astonishing, and it's one of the cleanest data sets I think I've ever interacted with. And for those of you that work in a Department of Health or Department of Transportation, please think of your injury epi colleagues, because I know they would be very excited to see this data. It's free on our research request page. You just fill out a quick online form, and that gets routed to us, and we're turning them around pretty quickly. We've gotten quite a bit of interest for 2020 data sets, but we'll send it to you. We offer it in Stata, SAS, and a pipe delimited ASCII data set right now, and it's the largest is about 15 gigabytes compressed, and it's about 135 gigabytes uncompressed. And then we're also finishing the technical documentation to go with it that'll also be on the website that explains exactly where all the variables are located in each of the tables, as well as extended definitions. I'll put my email in the chat. If anyone has any questions about it or any comments, please feel free to email me. We're more than happy to talk about it. We're pretty excited about having this large of a data set and now having this many years available. So with that, I'll stop talking. And if anybody has any questions or comments, we're here.
Any questions for Ben? We're pretty lucky to have him on our team. He's taken over these research requests, and it's been terrific. And Ben, would you put that link in the chat as well for this page?
Sure, yeah.
Awesome. Next on the agenda is any items from NHTSA OEMS. Eric, is there anything you wanted to go over?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Just to say that we have started our project that we've been talking about for some time now on data use agreements, and we've been working with Paige Wolford and Worth to who'll be helping us shape our data use agreement a little bit, and then we'll be talking about how we'll be reaching out to the states to basically go through the process again. We haven't laid all that out. We have started doing some fact finding in terms of looking at data use agreements with states, with vendors. So, don't be surprised if you hear we were requesting data use agreements. That's exactly what it's for. We're in the process of also addressing questions about the data itself, data ownership, data sharing, and that's a part of the follow-on to the HIPAA project that we completed with Page, Wolfberg, and Worth just a little while back. So ongoing, this is basically started back in 2020 when we had the national meeting in Washington, D.C. and had about 130 representatives from everybody from hospital EPCR vendor, hospital electronic healthcare record vendors, HIE organizations, local services. We had SMEs from all over the country come together to discuss things that we should be working and be focused on as we move forward. The HIPAA compliance use, the data sharing piece, the HIE piece, the hospital exchange, the e-outcomes, that was all part of the big discussion. So you're gonna hear a lot more about that meeting now that we haven't by any means stopped on our COVID initiatives, but we are starting to focus more and more on what's ahead. We're also in the next mod of our contract with the NEMSIS TAC. So I'm making sure that a lot of these things are built into that so that we have secure deliverables as we move into 22 and 23 budget years for the federal government. So if you have questions, by all means, reach out and give me a call. Other than be safe, that's all I have for the group today, unless there's questions for me.
Any questions for Eric? Are there any topics or issues that anyone would like to bring forward in open forum? All right. We have some upcoming events and some flyers will be coming out for these as well. Our next public training will go over research tools, the research data set, the data cube. That will be available and open to anybody who's interested and will be on June 1st. And then we have the boot camp for state data managers, and that is July 13th. And that will focus on version 3.5 transition. And then our annual meeting is August 3rd through the 5th. Both boot camp and annual meeting will be virtual presentations, and there'll be more information coming out on those as well. Our next V3 implementation call meeting will be May 26th, same time, same place. And if there's nothing else for the good of the order, I think we're done for today. It was a quick call. So thank you for being with us today, taking time out of your schedule, participating in the conversation. We really appreciate that, and it makes this very valuable for everybody participating. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good day.